Hello everybody, it's Tobias here, and today we're playing Hearts of Iron 4, and we'll be playing as the United States. Now my plan for the United States is that I will be going down the focus tree that makes America a fascist state and has a crusade against communism. Hopefully meaning that we can invade the Soviet Union on the East Coast and conquer as much as we can, and avoid getting involved in the war in Europe, as we just let Germany do what it wants to the rest of Europe. But that's a long ways off. It's only 1936. The war has barely started and there's a lot of preparations to be made. So first things first, we need to check how the nation's doing. We've got reasonable national unity, no need to improve that. Political power gain is reasonable. Very low manpower for a nation this large. You're going to have difficulties recruiting a large army. And reasonable industrial output, which means we should have a fairly well-equipped military. But for research, what are we going to need if we're invading the Soviet Union? We'll need landing craft, which we have, and that's many years ahead, so we don't need that. We'll also need to establish dominance over the area. Paratroopers would be useful. We would want effective infantry. What will our land doctrine be? Oh, almost certainly superior firepower, which means just shelling the crap out of your opponent, because you can make more shells than they have infantry. So probably want to reinforce that land doctrine. Do we want air superiority? We want air superiority for paratroopers, and then invasion along the east. Because the plan is to have an amphibious invasion from the west coast, or from Alaska, into the eastern Soviet Union. But what ports do they have? What islands do we have? Oh, we could launch from Attu Island, actually. Put an airbase on there. I think we can build an airbase on there, I'm not sure. And launch into the Soviet Union. So yeah, we'll launch from Attu Island, which means probably want some kind of air superiority. In terms of production, what do we have? We have a lot of civilian factories and very few military factories, so we want to build a lot of military factories. So let's get going on that. Can we build an airbase? Yes, we can. So we're going to want that. Put that to max priority. Shift left click. There we go. And with 3 military factories. We have nowhere near enough infantry equipment, so we'll get on that. With 3 dockyards. With convoys, we have not enough for a nation of our size. So we shall make some convoys to transport troops and supplies. We're not that many. What the hell's a Portland class? Heavy cruiser, submarines, and destroyers. Yeah, let's make some more heavy cruisers. I think no national focus. We will want the WPA, no idea. Millions of people are suffering from unemployment resulting from the Great Depression. Agency to put people to work on public projects may not solve the problem, but the Work Progress Administration is a step in the right direction. Okay, so this helps deal with the Great Depression that America's in the middle of. Low manpower, not very much I can do about that right now. Insufficient resources, no rubber. I'm sure our friends across the pond will supply us. Yeah, only a little bit. A little bit. There we go. And let's let the world tick over a little bit. Let's have a look at our armed forces right now. We have a huge fleet here. Some infantry garrison throughout the states. Another huge fleet here. Oh, hopefully we won't get tied into war with Japan if we join the Axis, which is another benefit. No real fleets out here, infantry stationed throughout, but the Pacific Fleet is all stationed in California right now, it seems. Got another dockyard built, we'll shift that to... oh, because we finished the cruiser. Heavy cruiser. Let's make a battle cruiser, which we need chromium for. We don't really trade from the Soviets because we're going to war with them eventually. Let's just trade from the UK again. Which do we need? 4. Go. And... huh. No, we're using a lot of convoys. Oh yeah, for the trade. What was I doing? I was inspecting the fleet. What's our Air Force like, actually? Oh, that's the WPA made. And we can modify our government. So the first thing I need to do is ensure we're on the right track to becoming fascists. So I shall get Charles Colin. Fascism is on the rise. The younger generation will take up the torch. Committee on Technocracy. Yeah, sure. Research is always good. Our low manpower is still an issue. Not sure how we're going to fix that. But the Air Force. Let's see. It's alright, it's nothing special. Italy's finished its war with Ethiopia. We have a reasonable military force, it's nothing special. But it'll be good. I don't know how we're going to station that many men here. We may have to launch from Alaska as well. In a kind of dual strike. I'm also going to have to deal with the Soviets' fleet. Hopefully Japan will have a good go of that. Let's have a look. Who are we going to go against if we join the fascists? Actually, we get Mexico on our side if we... No, we can only boost the Democrats because we're a democratic nation. Don't research. Probably a better navy. Let's get some better destroyers. But we'll end up at war with Canada as well, which means it's a bit of a land war. So we may need to recruit some infantry. It's the National Guard. Okay, versus infantry division. These look identical. These are completely identical to me. Let's just train 2 of these. I'll put them in Washington. Oops, Daisy. Misclicked. Yeah, okay, so we're going to end up at war with Canada probably, and then remilitarization of the Rhineland. Germany is following the script, I guess. Our technology committee has been founded. Support Rock Island. Huh. Support artillery and support technology. That's pretty useful. Because the idea is that once we land, we'll just have overwhelming firepower to deal with all the Soviets that will flood into us. Or hopefully they'll be on the Eastern Front with Germany. And we'll sneak in. Give all Stalin the reach around. National spirit outflanks government. Fascist sympathies in the military. Several high-ranking members of the American military have expressed support some privately and some openly, for the fascist movement in the United States. The failed Democratic Party has forgotten how important discipline and patriotism is to keeping the country together, and are increasingly annoyed by the army treated by the government as more of a tool than one nation's most important institutions. Some go as far as to suggest that a new government is needed, one that knows how to lead the United States with strength and tradition into the next half of the century. This faction may not predominantly be politicians, but some of them have gained positions in the Department of Defense. If these developments continue, they have sufficient political support to execute a coup. Public support is sufficient, a coup can be executed. Okay. Support that now. Oh Jesus, shot up. So 11%, so it's not really a coup level, but it's getting there. Do we want strategic bombers? All of the industry in the Soviet Union's in the west. We're invading from the east, so we won't get to their factories, so probably not. Then again, I want to get our engineering up, seeing as we've got this Department of Technology, and get construction going. Need to build America's industrial backbone. Honestly, I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, so we'll just see how it turns out. Spanish Civil War, what will this mean for Spain? Again, Spain's following the script. Spain has erupted in civil war between Catholic fascists and democratic republicans. We've got our artillery research through. Stalin has purged his officers. Uncertainty has long reigned in the Soviet Union, while details are scarce. There has been a series of secret trials at the highest level, with both generals and ministers disappeared from the public eye. Natural assumption is that some conspiracy has been covered within the Communist Party, but no official statement has been made. In addition, diplomatic reports we have access to indicate that evidence presented at these trials has been far from indisputable. Whatever's been happening, the structure of Soviet high command has changed irrevocably. Yeah, Stalin's killing all the people who could possibly threaten him, and who may have sympathies for Trotsky. What else can we get? Because we can't get this until a lot of things have gone off. Most importantly, world tension needs to be higher. We need to feel threatened in the world. Okay. Let's perhaps work on the air division or the navy. Bureau of ships. Oh, build ships faster. That would be useful. Do more research? Oh, we do. Crap. Geomechanical computing. Get the research bonuses going. Mexico's moving its army to the border. We could also invade them. Fascists get to have lots of fun. Olympic Games. We win lots of gold medals and it's great. Now we're going to fix up the map. I suppose just conscription. However much that hurts the economy. But got more land doctrine through. Oh yeah, we're meant to be really wanting our artillery and anti-tank. We're not really going to use tanks, I suppose. We'll just use very well equipped infantry divisions. So we shall research artillery and anti-air and things like that, so we have very well equipped, very well supplied infantry divisions rather than focusing on creating tanks. But then again, we are slogging it through the Soviet Union. Do we want to march all the way across the Soviet Union? That'll take a year to get to Moscow. Well, I suppose the point isn't to get to Moscow, it's to draw enough Russians away from the inevitable front with Germany to our side, and to help Japan out. So I guess we don't need to slog our way there. And this is easier to do. We need much less production to equip troops well, and we don't have many men. to begin with, so the ones we do have should be well trained, well supplied, well equipped. Fund the Navy. Escort. Oh, battleships or carriers. I don't know how to use carriers in this game. I don't know how you use them, and we're launching into a land war pretty quick. I'd imagine we're not going to find ourselves fighting too much. Well, again, the Atlantic will be fighting with Brits a lot. So we'll actually not need a huge navy in the Pacific, because the Japanese fleet will help us destroy the Soviet fleet. It's Britain we're going to be worried about if we join the war with Germany. In fact, how fascist are we right now? 21%. It's not awful. Research slot. That's a little early for that. Oh, let's increase our industrial output. Ooh, low resources again. Chromium. Yeah, Turkey, you've got a lot of chromium. Gimme. Free dockyard. We need destroyers to hopefully keep our convoys safe. Now we just research better destroyers. So let's make them like cruiser, destroyer, there we go. That'll do. Research. What do we need? Well, we're gonna need anti-tank guns if we're not bringing our own tanks. Because I'm sure the Soviets will bring tanks. Modify our government. Can we make it even more fascist? Passionate gentleman, no. Nope. Silent workhorse, maybe. More industrialist? It's useful. Silent workhorse is pretty useful because we can get more reforms in faster with him. Because you need political power to change things. And you spend political power to get more political power by getting a silent workhorse. So you want to do that early to make it worthwhile. World tension is only 2% right now, despite the Italian-Ethiopian War and the Spanish Civil War. But I suppose they were expected. Just more dockyards on the east coast. Let's get them going. And where are we deploying our navy? Because right now, 90 ships and 12 fleets. Let's add to this. And let's make a new fleet in Los Angeles. Can we? Yeah, it says California, but it's in California. That'll do. Election 1936. The day the presidential elections are out. Incumbent Franklin Delano Roosevelt has already implemented several of the programs referred collectively as the New Deal intended to make the US out of the Great Depression. Many of the efforts have been popular. His plans to further extend the role and power of government has been met with criticism from opponents. Republican of Landon. From the oil industry, Landon wants to see greater economic freedom, while Roosevelt and the Democratic Party want to expand Social Security and ensure economic stability. The election may be a close call or a major victory for the Democrats. Democrats 4 more years. It's infrastructure, construction speed, national unity. Republicans must safeguard the ideals of the American system. Gain Standard Oil California. Digital research time -10. Alpha comes leader of the Democratic Party. Staunch constitutionalist, ideological drift defense. Oh, we don't want that. We want to drift really far and become fascist. So I guess it's the Democrats becoming the fascists somehow. Now at least we get the infrastructure construction speed, which is pretty useless for us, I think. But oh well. I just don't want the anti-drift. Construction is through. We can make those dockyards and factories faster, which we need, because for some reason America has no military factories, despite being a powerhouse. We already have a lot of resources, we don't really need more. Oh, it takes 3 years to research that. By bombing enemy factories either day or night more dangerously during the day, we can seriously hinder the war machine. Yeah, air superiority is fantastic. Anti-tank guns are available. Also anti-air guns. We'll need lots of different things intermesh with our infantry divisions to make them all-round effective fighting forces. We've got escorts coming through. Can we make? Oh no, we can't. A lot of this needs the war in Europe to kick off before we can do anything. Fund the Navy. Please research naval doctrine. Sure. Let's research more effective naval tactics. Somehow. Never try to use naval experience properly. Because I know for infantry it lets you add more divisions and things like that. Makes you get better divisions. But for ships? Great variant, like more torpedoes? Like, I don't know. What does that do? It's only for the Sims. I'm probably going to outdate that, and that's wasted experience then. It's not very useful. Alright, got those destroyers too. Dockyards, need probably lots of destroyers. From the Navy. Get our Navy going. Stop the clock. Yeah, let's get the Marines going. And what was I doing? Oh yeah, we could research better naval doctrines. Wow, Mexico! You've put a lot of troops on the border. What's that all about, buddy? Free civilian factories, get the military effort going. Oregon, you're gonna be a powerhouse. Texas, you too. Green Bay, Mexico. No. At least not yet. Not as a weak-willed Democrat facing down a 29% fascist population. Yeah. We don't really want tanks. Support battalions, by God, do we want them? Oh, HoIs are cheaper to research. Probably, if we really want field hospitals. No, you know how to make trucks, my God. Come on, America. Air superiority. Let's research those naval tactics that we've got all those bonuses for. Apparently our current naval doctrine is to have lots of aircraft carriers, which means we'll need lots of aircraft, which is probably a good idea. probably good to have good cars. I know we do. To have good escorts, which we do. Land doctrine's reasonable. Air support's reasonable. Huh. You know, I can always get better equipment. God, we gain political power so slowly. Civil war for fascism. 30%. While attempts of the fascist movement to revitalize people's pride in their nation has seen some success, the resistance against these ideas remains high. The general plotting to overthrow the current administration are disappointed in lack of confidence in the American population themselves to have in the American superiority. They remain certain that people will eventually tire Franklin Delano Roosevelt's lies, but are divided on what course of action to take. Some call for a coup to be executed now before United States enemies take advantage of its weakness. However, doing so while public support is limited would plunge the nation into civil war. Greatness can scarcely be achieved without spilling blood, but the blood of our countrymen, even traitors to the cause, is precious. We must unite the people, then rule them. Or, the power is meaningless if one hesitates to seize it. Democrats start civil war, civil legion becomes ruling party, public elections will be held, move national spirits. Fascist revolution skins reign of terror. I would rather not kill what few soldiers we have in a fascist civil war. We'll just wait until it increases a bit more. It's probably a good point to end it though, where the wars are starting to take shape with nationalist Spain about to win. We're focusing on improving our Navy and Air Force to give us complete superiority over the seas and then have a strong infantry corps to take over the Soviet Union. And we've managed to push America towards the clutches of fascism, although we have decided to play the patient man and to wait for the right opportunity to strike so as to preserve as much of the nation as possible instead of having a bloody and long civil war. Join me next time to see how it plays out, to see if the United States successfully becomes fascist, if we can even launch this proposed invasion of the Soviet Union, or if a spanner is thrown into the works. Thank you for watching.